got through all the business stuff. But I just want to say, I don't think it helps, and I have a marketing background too, and journalism background. I don't think it helps the cause to be reading about, fighting about how you're going to get the message across. What helps is to hear the message. So when Mitch Perry is writing his story, he should be writing about the fact that, for instance, for me, I don't know anyone in the last year who's unemployed that's found a job. I know so many people that are looking, people in my age range who lost jobs or who are, trying to get back in the workforce after being a parent. My daughter hopefully is getting a job. She graduated from college, but she's been looking for the last couple of months. So I think that the message is so important. So figure out how you can get your message across. Don't worry about the theater or the hours. I think that's much less important than getting what you're trying to say across and saying it in a way that other people are going to want to join in. So you want your movement to grow. You don't want to read bad things in the paper. And so that's all my editorial comments. And I will, if anybody has any questions.
I have a question. So you said, like, as far as the interpretation of the law and how it's been rather generous, but as far as the safety of our people who are occupying out here, there's a 2-foot difference between where we're allowed to go and where we're not allowed to go that would make us much safer. All it would take was one drunk driver that would come onto the curb and could cause a tragedy. If we were allowed 2 feet more into the park behind those cement blocks, which those cement blocks are made for that specific purpose, it would provide safety for us. And so as far as the interpretation of the law is concerned and being generous, if we cross that 2 feet, or if we even cross over that block, we are considered not in compliance and are reprimanded accordingly. So as far as like the interpretation and the generosity of the interpretation, I was wondering what you thought about that.
I don't actually understand what they're telling you.
The bricks at the front of the park, where we're asleep on that sidewalk, those bricks in the front of the park, we're not allowed to go past them. We have to stay on the sidewalk side of them. Cool, we're not allowed to go into the park. But it's the difference of a 2-foot or a foot difference.
So you got a 6-foot sidewalk where you can be.
And we have to be on the street side of those bricks. If we move 1 foot more into the park or 2 feet more into the park, then we're considered not complying. This is a safety issue as far as the people are concerned. If I'm not mistaken, the spokeswoman for the police said that she is concerned about the safety of the protesters and about giving us a safe place to occupy, or maybe not to occupy, but at least to get our voice out. And so I'm kind of not seeing the same amount of generosity as I see.
What I was saying was liberal is the code says you can't sleep in the park, period. So for them to find a place anywhere in the park.
But that's not in the park. That's on the sidewalk. We're sleeping on the sidewalk.
Public right of way.
Yes, that's where we're sleeping, and we're keeping it. We're complying with everything. We're keeping a walkway completely clear. Anytime anyone comes through, we completely clear it. Noise ordinance we keep down from midnight or sometimes 10 until 8 o'clock in the morning. We wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we comply in every way that we can. But as far as the generosity of the interpretation of the code, 1 foot or 2 feet of difference to provide so much more safety for the public. I see this connection.
I have to admit, here's the other thing that happened since Monday and today. On Monday, I thought that I was going to have somebody from TPD and somebody from the legal department with me.
I'm sorry, could you talk a little bit louder? I can't
hear you. Yeah, I said I thought that I would have a representative from Tampa Police Department and attorney from the city legal department, but they declined the invitation.
Of course.
So, but I think
that kind of conflicts with what you just told us about them being on our side.
I don't think that you can. It probably is allowed in the code, but I don't know, and I don't know that I have the sidewalk here. Can you sleep on the sidewalk? That's the code they gave us. All right, I might have that.
To keep us out of the park.
And also, if you define sleep by cops coming by in the middle of the night, shining their lights on you while video cameraing you,
and doing the sirens.
If we were here this weekend and no police had to come and do anything, I would like to know what the difference, who tells them what to do, because we were obeying all of their rules, and for some reason now every hour we have, kind of aggressive police interference. They're coming by and filming everybody.
Let me finish with his question.
Okay.
Because, and then we can take on. Here's what was the generous interpretation. Okay, obstructing streets, sidewalks, alleys, etc. It is unlawful for any person to place in or upon any place, street, sidewalk, alley, landing, wharf, or pier owned or controlled by the city, and now this is out of order, so it's going to take me a minute to find the next page. 2280. So basically, they're interpreting people sleeping on the sidewalk as objects, because there's some.
But the thing, but if I could just clarify this really quick, because we are very happy that you are here, and so this is in no way against you by any means, and for us to have questions with you is amazing. It's very good. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is we're not in the park, we're on the sidewalk, and we're keeping it clear. All right.
This is what this is. This is 2280.
Right.
The lawyer who gave me the code. Located within the city limits, any article or thing without a permit. Okay.
That obstructs the passage.
No articles on the sidewalk. That's the paraphrasing.
You can't, right? But I think you can't.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure that you cannot sleep on the sidewalk.
what if
Let's take a step. They make their judgments about what they're going to enforce. That's the other thing. And this is the other thing about your image. They have to make judgments about how they're going to spend their time. They're getting complaints from residents that they don't like having people sleeping on the sidewalk in the park.
People in beds have problems with people on the street.
I'm just saying, and here's the other thing. I have no control over the police or the mayor. That's the administrative part of the city. They make those decisions. So actually, I can tell you what the code is.
I mean, we've read the code for sure. The only thing I was saying is the discrepancy of the 2 feet of between safety and non-safety for the tax-paying citizens out here. The discrepancy of the 2 feet between safety and non-safety, it seems a little bit.
Well, you're making a choice to be there.
Absolutely.
And they can't protect you against yourself for sleeping on the sidewalk. That's my opinion about it.
I just want you to understand that us sleeping is an act of protest. It's not sleeping like you're sleeping at home. So actually when we sleep on the sidewalk, that is protest. That is covered by Constitution. And I think, personally, in my opinion, Constitution is more important than any code you ever look up.
Yes, I'm not a lawyer.
I am.
I didn't mean that at you. I just wanted to be.
No, that was very good.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I am. And from what I can tell, the parks ordinance specifically, without any exception, precludes sleeping within the park controlled by the Department of Parks in the city. My concern is there's another part of the Tampa ordinance, and you have to forgive me without citing citing numbers, but the director of the parks does have the authority to basically vary the time period in which people are allowed access to the park, as evidenced by us being in here today.
Right. This park is posted that it closes at 10 p.m.
All city parks.
So
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
This park in particular, the general rule is
Sunrise to
close at
sunset.
Sunrise, sunset. This park has the exception; they're open until 10, and they do.
But that can also be very.
Has complete discretion. They can.
That can be varied upon petition to the director of the parks.
Right.
I guess, is there any indication from the city as to whether or not they would be supportive of some sort of variance as it relates to this park or another park within the city?
Right. Let me tell you this. I cannot speak for the city of Tampa.
Fair enough.
In fact, 2 city attorneys ago, I got in trouble, and because the mayor disagreed with something that I did,